What's poppin', y'all? What a crazy madness. If you guys remember, or if you follow me on Twitter, while this Drake and Kendrick beef was going on, I had tweeted something along the lines of, Diddy must be the happiest person in the world right now that this happened, because for a little while, all of the attention was off of him. Nobody was talking about what Diddy had going on. I think there were even some new developments that they were probably covered by outlets, but they were kind of just skimmed through, and the majority of people were focused on the beef and what was going on there. And we're like, oh, we'll get to Diddy later. Although, I don't think they would have gotten to Diddy had this new piece of information come out. Of course, we were going to get developments, and then people's attention was going to revert back to it. But in the manner that this happened, it's almost like they waited, okay, let's wait for this Diddy stuff this Kendrick Lamar and Drake stuff to happen, and then we'll drop this on CNN of all platforms. Interestingly enough, this also helps out academics a lot because he's fighting his own case. The news came out about that. That would have dominated the hip-hop news cycle for at least a week, but Diddy's thing comes right after him, which obviously you kill a story with a story. I'm not saying he had anything to do with that, but people can't focus their energy on multiple things at a time. So Diddy takes precedence, not to mention there's video footage of Diddy's brutality. This is one of the craziest videos I've ever seen because of just the lead up to it. So for instance, we've seen a bunch of other video clips, and it's usually someone snapping in the moment, and there's very close proximity. Obviously, that's not to justify anything because there's always going to be lesser minds in the comments thinking you're justifying by understanding a situation, which is foolish, but we have to live amongst these people. It's a shame. So usually it's like, okay, impulse, something crazy happens, they're right next to each other. But with Diddy, the guy's running down the hallway. So in the entire time of running down the hallway, most people would think, okay, wait, hold on. What am I doing? We also don't know what drugs he's on or what drugs Cassie's on, which doesn't really matter what drugs she's on in this case, since she's outright the victim from the video footage that we've seen. But Diddy's running straight down. You would think, oh, wait, hold on. This is probably not a good idea. Anybody could come. This is the funny thing. Number one, cameras. Let's say he forgets the cameras. This guy's at the Intercontinental. Obviously, there's cameras everywhere. He wouldn't be staying at these hotels if there weren't cameras everywhere. Number one, cameras. So he's not thinking at all. Or he knows that he could potentially get the camera later. Or Diddy is one of those people that's like, shoot first, ask questions last. Number two, there are 4 elevators. Anybody could have come out of those elevators at any point in time. Whether it's a cleaner, whether it's another guest, which maybe there's no way he rented out the whole floor. That just doesn't make sense. It's a big floor of that hotel. It's possible. So another person could have seen him, and it's unlikely that an innocent bystander would... Is it unlikely? I think that person, if they witness it right in front of them, I think they're going to go call the police first before Diddy gets to offering them any type of money. And then once that happens, hey, you can't really offer the money at that point unless it's to, not testify, but the police are taking evidence of everything. So the guy sprints down. He just drags her. Also, nobody mentioned this. We got a shout out to Ye. Ye catching free promo on this. The hoodie that she has on, the sweatshirt, if you recognize the logo, those M's, those were So Help Me God logos. Before The Life of Pablo, Ye was working on an album that was called So Help Me God. It ended up being turned into Pablo, if I recall correctly, because this is 2016. So she was rocking that Ye merch, which might have been Diddy's, I don't know. But that's just one thing I didn't notice. It's kind of like an Easter egg, so to speak, that nobody really mentioned. So shout out to Ye on that front. But he just grabs her, throws her down, like kind of stomps her out and drags her back in like one of those Neanderthal... Paleolithic times where you just imagine some dude just clubs the chick and drags her back into the cave. That's legitimately what it looked like. And we got to see a real side of Diddy. I don't believe that this is the dark side of Diddy. I believe that this is a side of Diddy that he has to suppress normally, because you guys remember, this isn't only, and this is the funny thing too, people say, oh, these guys that beat women, they would never do that to a man. What are we talking about here? From what I've seen, it's the dudes that beat chicks that are the craziest. They're not going to beat a man. They're going to kill him. Like, we got Diddy, right? He was smacking up, J. Cole, beating up people that shooting in with Shine. He also, I think he hit him with a dumbbell or a kettlebell, the coach of his son's college team. This guy's violent towards everybody. Allegedly blew up Diddy's car. People are saying he got people killed. I don't know about all that. We had War Machine, who damn near killed his ex-girlfriend and the man that was with her. He just spared the man when he realized, like, yo, what am I doing? Who else? We've got too many of these people. They're equal opportunity. Floyd Mayweather, allegedly, I don't know, did he actually get convicted of that? And Chris Brown's looking like he's ready to get down with anybody. Although Chris Brown's thing was it was very brutal. I will say that. And there's a lot of context to it, but Chris Brown was a one-time thing. We haven't seen Chris Brown ever, or heard about him getting physically violent with anybody else. So that's why I think there needs to be some grace afforded to Chris Brown. He's very young, and his action has changed. Now, him being a big old blood, that doesn't represent it too well. But either way, they were going to hate on him like this. But Chris Brown, like I said, he's ready to get busy with anybody. So that's another individual. So I think we should just throw that whole term or thought that, oh yeah, this guy's beating chicks, he's not doing it to dudes. No, these guys are maniacs that are doing this. And they're beating and attacking anybody that they have a problem with. So this video comes out, it's quite horrifying from a lot of what we've seen. But then Diddy decides to do an apology, which I was in the process of making this video, but I was like, let me see what happens in the next 2 days or so. And then Diddy drops this apology. So I'll play the apology clip for you guys, although you might have seen it already, but you can skip around.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
I saw this, and I will say there was no type of apology that Diddy could have given that people would have said, okay, yeah, we understand. Well, we accept your apology. People are saying, oh, he didn't say her name. I thought TMZ reported this, but I thought people would have the sense to realize, why would he say her name? They probably were legally bound to not mention each other at all, which he was just abiding by. And number two, him admitting this after saying that, oh yeah, all these things against me are not true and I will fight them, etc. One thing I will say is that Diddy definitely looks distraught. Could that be an act? Yes, he could have been, what I believe is the case. I think he was furious. And then he morphed that into being distraught on camera. I do think he's distraught regardless. Like, his mind is probably pacing, yo, I gotta make sure that, the people like me. And that seems to be a majority of Diddy's career. If we think about a lot of the money that he's made post-music, which we would say post-2008, Diddy and music hasn't been much of a thing. He obviously, that's not to take away from his success as a producer, label head, but he had his heyday in the 90s and really early 2000s. And since then, he's kind of been getting off on, no Diddy, he's been getting by with these massive deals. And it's not getting by, like the Ciroc deal. It's pretty much, hey, we like this guy and people like this guy, so they'll buy what he puts out or what he stands next to. And that's what it's been. So that's why I think he's so crazed by trying to give out a statement that can somehow help him, which there is none that can help him. No matter what he said, people would say, oh, that's insincere. No matter what. And I'm not saying he is sincere. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he was getting away with it. And I think somebody like Diddy is so power crazed. You just see those clips. It was one of my favorite clips, I'm not going to lie. The one where he's closing a deal on the phone. I think he's got a Sean John t-shirt on, a blue Sean John t-shirt. And he gets the deal. He slams the phone. He's hyped up. He's moving around. Those are two sides of Diddy. So I think he's somebody that when he had the power, he thought, man, nobody can't do anything to me. I can get away with whatever I want. I'm Diddy. Which, you get humbled eventually when you move like that. And it seems like he treated certain people very, very well who even now are kind of on the wayside and quietly shunning him. I wouldn't say shunning him, but they're detracting. So he gives this statement. He looks distraught. I don't know if it's over. I'm worried about, not worried. I'm excited to see the developments legally. I don't care about this lawsuit. I really don't. Because anybody can come back from anything, especially Diddy. And Dr. Umar put out this funny statement about Diddy going to be saved, this and that. If Diddy takes the faith angle after a couple of years, you guys got to remember how much hate that Travis Scott was getting. Keep in mind, these are two completely different situations, the Astroworld situation and this. But Travis Scott was being put forward as this kind of cult, satanic, dark, energy harvesting thing that sacrificed 10 plus people. And after a year or two, he got all his deals back. Diddy, on the other hand, I don't know if he'll get his deals back, but I do think he can win favor if he beats all this legal stuff, number one, and then he just keeps going with, like I'm in therapy, I'm in this. That's what Charlemagne did. Charlemagne's, how they said, what is it? Baca got a weird case. Why is he around? Charlemagne has a really weird case. Charlemagne has admitted to a lot of crazy stuff, and Charlemagne hopped aboard the spiritual therapy, speak, all this other stuff, which frankly, I believe it's a bunch of nonsense. And I will say that, especially coming from Charlemagne as well. I'm not saying Charlemagne is a bad person or Charlemagne doesn't deserve redemption. And I think Charlemagne's done a bunch of crazy things, but there are certain belief systems that when you see people push them so frequently, you kind of get a weird, how do I say it? It's not goosebumps, but your hair starts to stand up. And for me, that's what Charlemagne does with that therapy speak thing. It's almost as if he's trying to bring you into like his cult. Well, not a cult, but into his ideology. And he stands to benefit from it financially. That's also the thing. So if someone benefits from it socially, they benefit from it financially. I'm less inclined, and they always speak about it, I'm less inclined to believe, okay, this person is not genuine about it, but it hits every type of benefit. There's no drawback. For instance, that guy George that was on Logan Paul's podcast, there's a bunch of drama. But if someone's constantly talking about, let's say, Jesus, or let's say someone's Hindu, constantly talking about being Hindu, people are going to get tired of it a little bit. So there is this element of non-religious folk that are like, damn, man, like, stop talking about that. So it's not necessarily just a positive. But with this Charlemagne thing, you kind of look crazy if you're talking against it. But the topic isn't about Charlemagne. Charlemagne was able to recover. Chris Brown was able to recover. We didn't see video, though. That video would have been bad. So I believe Diddy can recover if he goes through the legal route. Will he ever be heralded as he once was? No, because before this, we thought the craziest rumors about Diddy was the DL stuff, allegedly. But we're seeing how he's moving now. Like I said, truth is really stranger than fiction. In all of the conspiracy theories that we had about Diddy, we never even thought of this type of video. Did you ever think that this was one of the types of things that Diddy was doing? Because I didn't. It just didn't really cross my mind. There were so many chicks around. Nobody's ever caught him doing something. There were the things with Kim Porter, but that was kind of shrouded in mystery. So I think Diddy he just has to lay low, and he had to say nothing. There is nothing that he could have said that would have made the situation better. Now there's just more material to kind of dunk on him with, which I'm not saying you shouldn't dunk on him. This guy this is why I said distraught and angry, because from Diddy's perspective, from a very, very powerful person, put yourself in his shoes, try to a little bit. When he had to pay that settlement to Cassie, he was furious. Because from Diddy, he's looking at it like, man, you would have been nothing without me. Look at your career now. I put you on. I took you to all these places. You would have never seen these jets. You would have never seen none of this. You wouldn't have even had a music career if it weren't for me. And this is what you do to me now? Okay, we'll do the settlement, right? And there's probably a bunch of stuff in the relationship that we don't know about where Diddy feels like he was slighted or wronged or maybe even attacked. I don't know. We don't know who started this. We just have the video to look at, which, Diddy, you're looking crazy. You're looking beyond crazy. You're looking like a madman. So from Diddy's perspective, he's looking at it like, okay, now I got to pay this fat settlement because she just put out all this paperwork that makes me look really, really bad. Pays a fat settlement. We don't even know. Tens of millions. Some people say 50 million. He thinks it's over. It's not over. Her friends start talking. And then now this video comes out. So Diddy probably thought he paid $50,000 for the video to go away. And then he paid her tens of millions to shut up and not talking about anything else. And then this comes out. He probably believes she has something to do with it. There's also the news about her cooperating with law enforcement to help him in whatever case that they have. So Diddy, you think he's really going to apologize to her? He's looking at her like, this chick is the bane of my existence. And if you put yourself in his frame of mind, it's sound logic. Like, it follows each step. So there's no way, even if he could apologize to her, that, would he? Yes, to gain favor or to try to make himself look better, yes. But I think he hates her more than anybody else in the world right now. Really interested to see how this develops. I want to see Cassie on the stand pointing fingers. I'm just here for the show. I'm just here for the madness. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.